When referring to all objects on the list, we can discuss about the list rather than talking about each individual items, which is what we're referring to the array. In game development or programming terms, they can refer various infos or variables with a single name. Using an array can be performed in many different ways, such as the list of objects in the given area and certain actions. In Unreal Engine, there are nodes that consider to randomness. In this video, I use one random node, which is a random integer in range from stream. It is a random node that grabs the same random number, although we can't predict what the next number value is. There are other random nodes that would prove useful to this project though, except in this video, these two that I'm about to explain did not appear in this video. I may have removed it from following the lecture video, but that is that is okay. Either the so there are random nodes that will that will prove su- sufficient to this project I'm working on. Either the random bool, the boolean with weight from stream, a node with a random chance of the value being true or false, um, which this node could serve for the gotcha games, like saying a random chance of a value being true or false. So like think of it as like saying a certain value being true, players are able to get a certain character if this value that's set to high for this character is true. If this value for this character is set to false, then the players were not able to get this character unless they decide to keep trying until they finally get it. Random rotator from stream, a node with random units of rotating. Which object is the weakest? What's the farthest or closest to you? How powerful is the enemy? If we want to assume that lamppost is the most brightest of all, we need to make the enemy, not the enemy, we need to make the lamppost as our target in the list. Afterwards, we iterate through each lamppost in the array and check if they are the brightest. Which in this video, all each of the lampposts should have like the most brightest of all though, but for some reason they seem to have like the um similar bright radius. Each of the lampposts should have a different bright radius. Objects with physics calculations become one of the major and most common aspects in all console games, and in almost majority of the game engines. By applying physical forces to objects, players may be able to feel like they're in another reality world that is like ours but different in terms of background. As you can see right here though, in this video, um, I tried to push the rock and the enemies that were demonstrating in the second part of the voiceover video did not make any move because these objects that I collide into do not have functions that were set to physical forces. However, this cube um, does have functions that are set to physical forces, which explain of of the player character being able to move that block though. So as you see, I checked I can't even tell what it is due to the quality of this video and recording. Um, I believe I set to check on the something about mass for the cube, and with the mass on check though, I was able to change like any masses for the cube though, but it's also related to physical forces, meaning that if the cubes were in different weight values, they'll be react differently to how they're going to interact when the player character tries to push them. So if I were to set the mass to light weighted, then the player character will be able to move the cube easier. If I would set the mass on heavy weighted or heavy on the heavy value, then the player character wasn't able to move that cube because because the weight is not the weight the weight the numerical value of the weight is huge. It means it's heavy. By applying the sphere overlap actor onto the physical cubes, we can grab all cubes at the given location and given radius. So as you can see right here, these are the These are the functionalities I set up from following the lecture video. Direct proportion is where both values increase in the same direction. If the explosive force is higher, the damage input will be greater. If the explosion is smaller or lower, it will deal less damage. Inverse proportion is where values are inverse, meaning that if one value will be smaller, the other value will be larger. So let's say if I were to set for direct proportion, um, if there was like a bomb and the explosive force is like um is very high, like it will explode in a high explosive radius though, then the player character or me, if I were to be in the game, or any character that resembles the player, then I will take a greater damage. If somehow the bombs explode has a small explosive radius though, it would deal less damage. But what if that bomb that still has a small explosive radius, even though it's still that tall, it will still deal a massive damage despite being having a small explosive radius. That is inverse proportion. In Unreal Engine, there are many nods or tools that still continue to serve game programmers their needs to make video game projects. In this video, here are some nods that I may or may not use for the midterm or final project. The timeline here, it is a nod, but considered as a cool time-based nod. I'll discuss what it does later in this video. The other nods that I bought in are the cool flow control nods, the flip-flop, the gate, and the do once nod. The flip-flop is when making an object attached with two options. It can switch or flip-flop between those options. So let's say that I attach a door with two options, open and close. With the flip-flop, the door can switch between the open option and the close option. The do once is letting the object to do their action once at a time, and gate is a function that makes the object to perform its action, but only if a certain function happens first. So what you see happening right now in this video is the function that is initiated by the timeline nod. It's a nod that initiates a runtime period of a track by the time the gameplay begins. In simple terms, the timeline will run through various numerical values on the screen right now.